Good morning. I hope everybody is doing well. First up, once again, thanks for all your support. The likes and subscriptions are really helping the channel. We've grown quite a bit. We're approaching 3,000 subscribers. And I'm reading all your comments. Please keep them coming. Today, we're going to do another shootout, The Three-Cornered Hat, written in 1919 by Manuel de Falla. It's yet another ballet score commissioned by Sergei Diaghilev of Paris's Ballet Russe. Stravinsky introduced de Falla to Diaghilev, and the commission flowed from that early meeting. Falla uses traditional Andalusian folk melodies throughout and also uses a soprano in addition to the large symphony orchestra. The very popular score, it runs about 35 minutes, has been recorded many times, but three stand out, especially on vinyl. It's the perfect score to introduce people not familiar with classical music, Spanish rhythms, brilliant orchestrations, and ravishing melodies. And the soprano adds some cantellando, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, basically sad songs. And we have three wonderful sopranos for you today. Even though it can sound a matter of fact as the episodic story unfolds, it's not easy to bring off with the story and dance on stage. A superior conductor and orchestra is needed, and we have three crackers for you today. Number one, I'm doing this in conductor alphabetical order, because there will be a winner at the end of this. Number one is the Ansermet, Ernst Ansermet, who actually conducted the premiere. It's on Decca from 1961, Victoria Hall, Geneva, recorded, beautiful Paul, and it was engineered by Roy Wallace. And the one that I've been listening for the shootout is by Speaker's Corner. That's the reissue. I'm not quite sure who did the recutting. And it has Teresa Berganza, a wonderful soprano. The second one is by Rafael Frubeck de Burgos on EMI or HMV from 1964. And this features the magnificent and probably the greatest Spanish soprano, Victoria de los Angeles. This was engineered by Chris Parker, originally for EMI. I'm using the Alto High Fidelity reissue, remastered by Nick Webb at Abbey Road. I'm guessing from the late 90s, maybe early 2000s. The third version we're going to listen to today and discuss is by Enrique Jorda, or Jorda, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, another Spanish conductor. This is from Everest from 1960. This was engineered by Bert White, and it's from Walthamstow Town Hall in London, and features the soprano Barbara Howitt, who I don't know, and we'll talk about her. And I'm using the 2006 Classic Records Bernie Grunman cut. So the three recordings in question are certainly the top choices on audiophile vinyl. So as I mentioned, let's start off in alphabetical order as far as conductors are concerned. So this is the very famous Ernst Ansermet Three-Cornered Hat with the L'Orchestre de la Suisse Romande, and Teresa Berganza is the soloist. This is a Speaker's Corner Decca reissue. The original Decca runs for about $1,000 on Discogs, and that's even get a clean one. It's a very, very famous record with lovely artwork. Ansermet, as I mentioned, did the premiere, knows the piece backwards. I'll be honest with you, I played it a couple of times and never conducted it. It's not that difficult to bring off as far as the playing is concerned. It's a hell of a lot of fun to play, and I think that humor and pleasure comes to the audience because they're always smiling when they're listening to this piece. It's so beautiful. And it has to be conducted very well, and it has to be kind of measured so it hits the high points. It's kind of a fun story, kind of local government and a little bit of intrigue. Not that complicated, but it has to be built up to get to the famous Miller's Dance and the big ending. There's a lot of beautiful melodies in between and a lot of beautiful moments in between. And Ansermet hits them all. It's a fantastic performance. In fact, I would say this is the best I've heard the orchestra play on these reissues for Speaker's Corner. The orchestra was, not famous for its, brilliant tone like the Berlin Phil or the swashbuckling precision of the LSO. But it's a very good orchestra, a very fine professional orchestra. But he really has them playing at a very high level here. So I would say as a performance and a recording, if you have this one, if you have an original, you're a lucky person. But if you're not, and if you have this already, you're fine. You're all set. Maybe wait till the end to see what we discuss for the final decision. But that's a very fine recording. This is an interesting one, and I'll tell you a little story about Rafael Fruberg de Burgos. Here he is with Victoria de Los Angeles, and she is wonderful. The vocal parts are very small, just a couple of songs, but she's amazing. This is with the Philharmonic Orchestra. I actually performed this work with Rafael Fruberg de Burgos, but I wasn't playing the flute, and I wasn't conducting as a conducting student. I was part of the stage part for saying the oles, the very famous oles at the very beginning. Have to be very loud and very precise with the clapping and the castanets, which kind of sets the tone of the piece after the timpani and the trumpets. And for some reason, it was with the London Philharmonic Orchestra at the Royal Festival Hall in London, and I guess the LPO, the union, will say we're not talking, we're not. So they got a free choir from Trinity College of Music London, the gentlemen. And we all kind of lumbered on stage, and we were there for the rehearsal. It was a lot of fun, and a quick performance. And of course, all the English people were saying, ole, ole, ole. And the Fruberg de Burgos was like, no, ole, ole, ole. So we got it right. Anyway, it was a lot of fun. And he's a wonderful conductor, wonderful conductor. The first half of the concert was Brahms' Third Symphony, and they did the beautiful job on that. But anyway, I digress. He knows this piece backwards. The Philharmonia play it absolutely beautifully. Yes, they are a better orchestra than the Swiss Romande, very famous orchestra. I love the cover of this. This is the alto high fidelity reissue. It was originally on EMI, his master's voice. Absolutely glorious recording. As far as the performance is concerned, de Burgos has the measure of this piece. He builds it beautifully. There are lots of big moments. He takes the timpani and the trumpet at the beginning. It's got to be connected in 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, but it's fast. And the castanets are very good. Castanets are very important, and she's wonderful, Victoria de Los Angeles. So yes, as a performance, in some ways, I liked it better than L'Orchestre de Suisse Romande. In other ways, I prefer the Orchestre Suisse Romande's performance. This is, again, if you have an original, they're cheaper than the Decca. These probably go for $100, $150 on Discogs for a clean EMI original. This was still about $100 on eBay, but I got this at $25 in LA. Well, my nephew got it for me. $25 sealed, and it's very good. As a reissue, it's not the best alto I've heard. It's very good. It was cut at Abbey Road. It's very good. It's not dynamite. It's not like the Speaker's Corner for the Ansermet, which is dynamite. But it's a very famous recording for lots of reasons, for the orchestra and for de Burgos' lovely interpretation, and of course for Victoria de Los Angeles. So let's get to the third one. Okay, and to the third and final one with Enrique Jorda, or Jorda, conducting the LSO. This is an Everest. You know, this is the classic records reissue with Bernie Grundman. It's a lovely reissue, lovely remastering. Bernie Grundman knows how to kind of get layers in orchestra, and he does a nice job. I've never heard the original Everest, like I've never heard the original Decca for the Ansermet, and I've never heard the original EMI for the de Burgos. This is very fine. I would say the orchestral playing is probably, out of the three, the best here, the LSO. It's very, very good. The castanets are a little funky. The bass is very good, not outstanding. We'll come back to the bass in a minute. Barbara Howard, the soprano soloist, I think that's her on the cover, by the way, I think. She's good. She's no Victoria de Los Angeles, but she's very, very good. Certainly suitable for this piece. Again, it's not the most challenging piece to play or to conduct, but they do. I mean, I think this is at Not sure where it was. I think I mentioned at the beginning. But they showed up. Oh, yeah, I think it was Walthamstow. They would show up, and then the light would go on, and they just sight read it through the LSO in those days, and probably get a one or two good takes from the first run through. It's yeah, I would say probably out of the three, the LSO in those days, the Philharmonia and the LSO are pretty close, but the LSO by the late 50s had made some remarkable hires. Dennis Wick and Barry Tuckwell, Hugh Maguire on violin, you know, some great players, and the LSO had really started getting a lot of the work in London. Anyway, I would say as far as the performance is concerned, conducting I would give to the other two, to Ansermet and to de Burgos. I think they have, again, the measure of the piece better. This is a little bit segmented. Here's a section. There's a rhapsodic section. There's a romantic section. It's very good, but it's not as free flowing as the other two. So let's talk about the final decision. If you have either of the three, you're fine. You don't have to go, damn it, I should have, Anthony's suggesting this one, damn it, I need to go out and find it. No, you're fine. All three are wonderful. They're excellent performances. One or two a little bit better than the others in some parts. One or two of the recordings a little bit better than the other parts. But for the most part, in general, if you have either of the three, you're fine. Now, if you have an original Decker or you have an original Everest, there's not many original Everests I've been thrilled about, I will tell you. I like the remasterings much more. But if you have an original Everest and you're happy with it, if you have an original EMI, count yourself lucky. Again, you're fine. But let's choose one. And here it is. The Three-Cornered Hat by Ernst Ansermet. He's the gentleman who did the premiere, with him getting the Orchestre de la Suisse Romande to play the very best I've heard on any recording. The opening is tremendous. The trumpets, the gentleman yelling and clapping, Ole, Teresa Berganza. Is she the same as Victoria de Los Angeles? Maybe not quite, but it's a secondary role, and she's wonderful. But the soloists in this, the flute and the clarinet, the French horn, some of the humorous parts with the birds at the beginning, the piccolos and the violins doing harmonics, and then of course that little bit of pastiche of Beethoven's Fifth. Ansermet does it so well. Not that the other two don't, but Ansermet has a little bit more flair. But what gets it for me on this piece is the recording. The other two, you know, famous recordings, Burt White for the Everest and Chris Parker for the EMI. But Roy Wallace nails this record in Victoria Hall. And that's on this performance, on this recording, and this pressing. Imagine what it's like on an original. Now, there is an ORG remastering by Bernie Grunman. It's very expensive, hard to find. They only did $2,500. That might be worth getting. But you really don't need to, because this is so well done. The bass on this record is so beautiful. It's refined. It's deep. It's so balanced within the orchestra. The timpani parts at the beginning, you hear that big whack on the timpani. On the Everest, it sounds good. It's effective. On the Philharmonia one, it's good. But this is dynamite. So if I was choosing one and only one to have, this is available. It's a magnificent recording. It's a very fine performance, a beautiful interpretation. It has all the humor. It has the drama, the big tunes, and the Spanish dances are done with great flair. So that's my choice. There you go. Thanks again for watching today. You seem to be by your comments that you're enjoying these shootouts. We have a couple more coming up. So please keep watching and like and subscribe. Have a wonderful day. See you in the next video.